In this video, I'm just going to show how I build from scratch. I start off with a template, some of the direction I use to get cursor to stay in line, how I use Supabase and its AI to build out some of the table, and just how I could deploy with Coolify. So you just get a quick sense of the flow here. Nothing perfect. And I don't get all those amazing UIs that you get with VO, but using Daisy UI or whatever to just keep it simple helps me just iterate through an idea. Yeah, so that's it. Hang in there, see how some of these things work, see how they sometimes don't work, and just give it a go. And if you want to see the code, join the forum below. In that forum, I share code and other things there. All right, thank you. All right, so we're gonna build something. And like I said before, I'm learning a lot of this Next.js and how to build stuff with that and AI. And we'll bring in cursor and how I do some things in there. We're gonna use this template app I have, this starter template that just gets me going. It has Daisy UI. It has ready to join, so it gets people signed up right away, even though they're already authenticated. So therefore, it's using anonymous auth. And of course, we'll have N8N doing some of the recipes as it brings them in, including we'll make images for the recipes as well. I've done this before. I was running something for a while. And we'll take advantage of Daisy UI. And then we'll actually have Coolify deploying this using the Coolify GitHub app. And so we'll get it deployed really easily. And it's not deployed yet, but once we do a little bit of code, we'll deploy it. And it will emphasize deploying often because it's so easy. Actually, I might even just start with that. So let's look at what we have here. So basically in cursor, I'm just starting with everything open. And let's get going. So I'm going to start a new chat, and we have a couple rule files here, Daisy UI, how I like to build things where they're very organized by anonymous auth, and resources have URLs and things like that. But one of the ones here I want to talk about is the business one. So for this one, I'm going to have it update this so that it represents the goals of this project. So we'll let it update that file. It's just to give it a sense of what we're working on here. And I think it helps, but none of these things are hard set in stone. The how one, though, I do use a lot because I really want AI to build things consistently for me. I use Next.js because I noticed it's just, again, one way to build things helps you to fix things more easily. Daisy UI, I was really enjoying ShadCN, but I don't think it had enough of the N8N. But I just think Daisy is more simple and I can just get things going without. I don't want a bunch of customization. I'm not looking for all of that. Let's see here. Oh, it updated the README. Gotta love it. So I want to tell it to update this. The README, whatever. It's just not going to be used by AI. Oh, it's disagreeing with me. Let's go move the README over. We don't even have, it's trying to make a whole plan here too, which I don't really want. You got to be careful because if you put too much in, I don't even want that much. Like you got to just not get too carried away. Start small, work in small iterations and go. It's trying to build a whole plan for me. I don't want it to. Darn. As you can see, this does not always work out. So let's just paste that in here and do. It's cool that it did that, but I don't need all of this. So let's just get it out of here. I don't want all the planning. See, I hate when it does this. So you got to really focus on keeping it not going overboard, honestly. Okay, let's just not worry about that. So we have a business plan. Just what is the general sense of the site? I already know how to make it. And the thing with AI is learning how to drive it so that it doesn't you don't want to take big steps. You want to just build a little bit and deploy and get your idea out there. So let's go. Here's the site we're working on. And obviously it's not going to be anything like this, okay? So I'm starting from a place of, okay, this is going to be way different. So if I was thinking about the recipe, these are going to be very simple. It's called simple recipes. And I'm going to make a table. So here I'll step out of the other work I was doing and I'll clear off this. Let's just refresh. And so now this is using Supabase's AI because I want to just use it. It's just a little easier, right? It's like shifting the tools that are in the right place, use the tools that may work in that right place. And I'm trying to build more from the inside out, let the database be well structured or simply structured, then drive the UI. And it will do some of the work. It will also ask you to run some things. So here's what it wants me to do. And let's see, run the query. All right, so now we have our recipe table. So let's see, recipes. Okay. And I can even tell it to make a bunch of dummy data. So let's do that. Now I just share this structure with everything. I'm not too worried. I'm not doing anything that I wouldn't do this on a real app where I really want to have a big application or something for a customer. They would have their own total database area. So here we have 10 recipe items. I don't know if it did row level security. Let's see. All right, so we'll leave it at that for right now. I don't even know if that might be too restrictive. So if we go to the table editor and we click on that guy, and we just say add, okay, so it's just, okay, that's why I did that, I see now. So we want to create a policy, or I'm going to be generating these in the background. So basically, I just want everybody to be able to read them. Let's see, this might be more than I want. Yeah, I think it's fine. I won't use it because I'm not going to be in the web UI doing this, but it doesn't matter. Okay, so these should be good enough. All right, so now we want to get here and say, okay, give me a card of recipes, but there won't be any images. So I'm going to make one placeholder image. Of course, I could use ChatGPT for that, so I might as well. One moment. So with ChatGPT, I started a project. I don't know. There's a style I like. I don't know what it's called, though. I should try to find some examples. If this one doesn't work, I'll leave it and then come back to it. And then while it's doing that, I'll go to storage, and we're going to start just making a bucket called recipes. And I'm going to make it a public bucket because just don't care. We just don't need to worry about it. I won't let people write to it, but we'll take care of that in a moment. And then what we'll do is, let's see. Yeah, good enough. We'll come back to that later, but that's good enough for now. Okay, what I'm going to do is just throw this in there for a moment. And we'll make everything reference that, but later on we'll make it by the ID. So we'll come back to that after. Let me see here. Wow, it's pretty big actually. That is a big image. You don't want to keep those as your default. What I'll do is I'll open it in preview and just quickly save it as, and I am not good at this, so let's just see what happens. That's still really big. Let's see what we can do here. We're going to export it to a JPEG. Now let's drag that there. One moment. Here we go. Good enough for now. Okay. So that would be default JPEG. All right. So what we're going to do now is just say, go show me all those recipes. Now I don't want to use just a table. So let's go look at something really quick. So this is where you can just go look around. I think I know what I want for a component. I want a card. Let's do something. No, see, if I do VO, you get into a very fancy theme. So maybe we'll go to that after. I just want something really simple. Something like that. There we go. And there's really not going to be much to a recipe. They can go look at it more, but let's just do something like this. And what we're going to do is say, okay, on this home page, so I really try to help it out. I say on this page, on that page, using Daisy UI, get all of the recipes. And what we'll do is if I just click on that guy and say get URL, it gets the URL and we can ask it to do that. Okay, so now, and I don't spell anything right. So now we get the default URL, we have the page. I will close these. That's the page. Okay, and then see, so we want to see that. We will have pagination and we'll add search later. All right, let's see what happens. Oh, I didn't tell it where to get the data from. Oops. All right, that's about it. You could use the plugin, the MCP for this, and I'll do that later on if we get into situations with row level permissions or whatever. It might be trying to make, so I do a lot of path-based routing, which is really nice. And so meetings would have had an ID with a page, and then this would have been the page for all of the meetings. So in this case, we're going to probably just make this recipes like hopefully it's doing. And then later on, when I go show a recipe page, it'll be app recipes. And then in there will be the ID. And it will try things, but we'll just keep it simple, right? Don't let it introduce features you're not ready for yet. Just really work with it to keep it simple. So no recipes found. And that's because it's pointing to the wrong database. So let me fix that. So in here, I'll just go to, forget where it is all the time. Oh, here it is. And let's close that. And then we just do that. All right, we are gonna do something offline here. One moment. Not that it matters, but I just wanna make sure my thing is not there. Yeah, it's not, okay. So what's interesting about Supabase is this guy ends up being public, and that is okay. So now that it's querying the right database, we should have some, but we don't. I'm gonna help it out one moment here. And that is odd. Let me tell it recipes. I'm going to go grab the definition and just tell it. And again, you could use the definition. I'm pretty sure I updated that one. Let's double check. I did. Okay, so we should be ready to go. That is all the recipes. Where is page? Here we go. And you really got to keep it from going too far ahead of you for now, because it can make some amazing things, but then you can get stuck pretty easily. All right, so let's see what we got here. What? Because it's all the dummy recipes and it tried to do something. All right, cool. So they're there. But what I want to do is say, let's see what this system did for recipe titles. So remember, I had it make these for me. So let's see what happened here. There's all the image links. Yeah, okay, that's fine. That's fine. So I am going to run a query. Again, I'm going to have it do it. Image link fields equal. And we'll make it better after. Like, it will just be self-updating. It will make sense after we get into N8N. All right, let it do the work for you. All right. Nothing pretty. It's funny how sometimes the size is different. And obviously I don't like the theme. We got a ways to go. We will do that though in a moment. So let's see. I'm just curious why I decided to make that top one bigger or how. Yeah, so that's it. That's all it is. It just shows everything right there. I'm not sure why it would cause one to be bigger than the other. That'd be worth looking into because that's really awkward looking. And actually I should make sure it works on mobile nicely. Just curious if we remove that, what happens. And then if it's not mobile, yeah, it's really interesting. Figure, class, card side. I've never used this stuff, so I'm not even totally sure. Let's see, let's go back to here and say, oh yeah, okay. And then card with image, side. So that must be how Daisy decides to do a side. And then I can make it smaller. Yeah, it's funny. What makes one bigger than the other? Let me ask AI. But that's it. Let's push this up and watch what happens. When pushing this live, let's make sure. So one of the things that always happens when I send a build up is if the npm build doesn't work, then my build will fail. So let me just do a git add, git commit, and give that a moment. Let me just run that really quick and see what we got. Okay, that's better. Okay. So git add, git commit, fix. I wonder what it did. I don't really wonder that much. Okay, so let's see. We want to do an npm run build here because I don't want to push it and have it break. And it should work, but we'll see. Okay, good. Now what I'm going to do is go grab all that stuff I put in here, and we're going to take advantage of that. So here we are here. And in GitHub, it is just a repo. And then in Coolify, I'm going to add that repo. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the GitHub app, and I'll do a video on that, but it makes it so easy to add a GitHub app. So you just go into your keys and tokens, I believe, or one of those, and you just make a GitHub app. And their docs will show you, and it's a few clicks and you're ready to go. And then I added that GitHub app to the repo, to the organization. So now if we look, we will see the one we are working on right now, and then that's it. Now, I don't have a TOML file. I have one from another project. I might grab that. Let's just try to run it without doing that and see what happens. And so the name of it is going to be Simple Recipes. And I already have a URL for this, simplerecipes.io. And all I did was point the IP to the IP of this server. And now we can just push to that server. And then I'm going to tell it, let's see here, environment variables. Now we're going to do preview builds as well, and that would be cool. And so here we are, we're ready to go. We have our simple recipes and we've hooked up things. So let's let this build happen. And if it fails, we'll put in a TOML file. It's pretty easy, AI knows how to do it. But that nixpax build pattern can do a good job if it has a TOML file. It can help it. Seems to do well without it too. So it's just, with this particular pattern, it's pretty easy. Okay, and building is never fun. So now we're going to go back here. We're going to create a workflow while we're waiting for that. We're going to say trigger, manual trigger, okay? And what we'll do is we're going to go to our Supabase, and we're going to get a bunch of those recipes we have. So let's go to ideas. Let's go get recipes, and then we will return... we can return them all, and we'll probably use something big like Gemini just so we can fit a lot in there. We could even grab maybe just the recent ones. There are ways to do that, I think. We'd have to figure that out. If not, I would just use a SQL Postgres query, and that would be easy. So we're just going to say get all existing recipes. And then once we get those, we are going to smash them together. I think this is the one I need first. So we're going to say concatenate, but see how it does this where I can't really concatenate that. So we're going to do a aggregate all data. So now when we run that, we get this. We get a bunch of data. And now we're going to take that and just concatenate it into a mash of information for the AI. So we have title, we have ID, we have tags, and images, which is irrelevant. And that's it. We don't have a created at, which is, I should have made a created at. Let's go do that really quick. So I can just edit the table. I could do created at, and it will be a timestamp. And then it has this option to do now. So that's pretty nice. It takes a moment because I have so many other tables here, but that's where it gets less advantage to do this the way I'm doing it. Patience. So now we have our recipes. We have them aggregated. Let's run that again. And we have them shoved together in a big summary. So here's where you really got to get into, just take your time and make a good prompt. So I am going to do some things here. Now we can use a chat model. I think I'll use the Gemini one just because of the size. But what's neat is I could use a way to find trending news as well and see if there's anything kind of newsworthy, right? Or recalls. And we could say, okay, use all of this data. And so we're going to say, you know what? I need to tell you where the data is. I can say existing recipes, so it has a sense of what's there. Okay. And then I could make a, what do we get? Title? Okay. I could give a system prompt and say, actually, you know what I do is I'm just going to go to, usually I would go to ChatGPT, but just because we're here, let's do this. Again, we can keep like a project here, so it becomes like a ChatGPT project. So I'm going to have it build out the prompt for me. And hopefully that prompt will be a little bit more wordy and help it to continue to do that. Let's see, let's do this. And what I'll do is this, because that's actually, I forgot about that. And then let's say, it should have said your role, but again, my instructions. And so we want to turn this into a prompt that we can give to the LLM. Okay, so let's take that and we're going to put that into here. So now we have our existing recipes in this guy. Now, I'm going to do something a little bit different here. So let's run that for a moment. And so if I run this every day, once a day, a couple times a day, it can generate content, but you could easily point this to your local LLM to generate the content and save some money. And you could then, you're going to see another step I do in a moment too. So you can really think about that. So as that's running, and this is the other thing too, I'll have a few things going on at once as I do this stuff. Not enough to distract me, but just so that I'm not waiting. So here's our recipes. Obviously it needs a better title than the SEO, and I don't like the design. We'll come back to that in a moment. Let's do this. Let's do this. I'm going to go to Daisy. I'm going to say Daisy has a bunch of themes. So let's go grab a theme. And I could make one, but I'm going to just try and keep this simple for a moment. They have a bunch of elements too. Where is that? Actually, it's in their theme builder. Here it is. Okay. So we could just say that this one's good enough for now. Okay. So we'll copy this to the clipboard. And then I think all I need to do is say global. And then I think I just do that. And the name they're calling light. And so therefore I'd go back into my layout and make sure to call that light. Okay. It'll be a little bit bright for this video, but it'll be okay. Oops. And because I ran that build, you'll sometimes have it need to be rerun dev again. All right. It's fine. We'll get there. We'll get some nice color patterns after. Now, we saw it running and we deployed it. That was cool. I overlooked that. So now we have our deployments working, and that one just kicked in just like that. So we're deploying. What's nice is I can go here. This is really cool, actually. And I could say, you know what? I do want to enable preview deployments, and I want to, oh, it might be in advance, sorry. And maybe make believe this was a very big change, which obviously it was. But make believe I decide to do a big change, and let's go to the page and we'll call it simple recipes. We'll call it version 2 for a moment. And actually, let me do this really quick. Git checkout-b v2, right? And we'll do that. And we'll do that. Oops, v2. right? This now I can make into a pull request, which I usually don't do, but sometimes you're making decent changes and you can even point it to a dev branch on Supabase. So now you can see we have preview deployments, and you can see that we have one that just showed up, and you can just deploy it. So if I click deploy, it should just work. I think, yeah, it should work because I think it's dealing with the wildcard domains for me too, which is really neat. Obviously, you can do something besides the number one. That's just its default. So here we have the queue and then that one. So let's give this a moment. We see this stuff can take time. Well, about a minute to deploy, which isn't bad. Okay, so we have our build. We have it deploying. We have a simple recipe calling to Superbase's recipe so the user can come and find a recipe. We're going to make it so they can add favorites. We'll do that in the next video because if these get too long, the editing is horrible. We have it deploying. You saw me kind of use a template. We've built up N8N to start building recipes. Let's go look at that guy. So what happened here? Google error, fetching, blah, blah, blah. Too many requests. Yeah, Google's it can be a pain. So I don't know why Google does this. I've seen this before. Let's get rid of it for a moment. Let's just use something. Let's use something quick so we can at least enjoy the process here. And I think let's try the latest Quinn. I don't know if this will be too big for this, but let's just see what happens. Okay, so we got our recipe, right? So, I bet you now, this is what I want to do. So I want it to be a format I want. So I'm going to tell the next LLM to do two things for me. Let's go grab this. And I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to use OpenAI for this one just for a moment. You could do this with the agent as well. So I want to message a model. I don't want to make an assistant, sorry. And let's see, we want to message a model for, oh, no, I don't want a deep thinking model. Wouldn't mind a mini. Now, when I don't see this stuff gets annoying. So I'm going to go grab a different token. Let's see. It can be a little bit confusing which models. And then you have this whole token thing. So can honestly be a little frustrating. I don't see mini. It's just crazy how sometimes it's connected to an account. There we go. If you don't see it, it's just because you didn't give access to that token. I don't even want 4.0. That's just overkill. Here, okay. I think 4.1 will work. Sometimes it won't. So I'm going to say you're the system. I don't want that. I want structured output. And then, so I want it structured and so I can insert it to the table. And I think it would do it for me if I let it. So let's do this. Our recipe. And then we want to say tags, and the tags are going to be an array. So that's what we will do for that. And that will be a string, comma, string. Okay. And then I think, let's see, recipe tags and title recipe tags. I think that will be good. All right. And I'm going to give it the sense of what we're aiming for, and that's it. We have to give it the recipe. So I'll go way down here and I'll just say recipe. And that's funny. That's the thinking. I must have used a weird model. Oh, Grok, I didn't know it did that. So let's do that. All right. And I want to make it clear. Its job is to make it. I didn't know it did that. All right. So now we can run this. Now, if I run that, it just takes a little longer. So I'm going to click on pin. So in case I click this and it starts over, I don't have to wait. And we don't have any tools, but we could use some tools. And now we have our structured output, okay? We can then push that into Supabase and we'll make our first recipe. So now we're going to go back to ideas. We're going to have a meals one. We are going to add a table called recipes, or add to our tables. We're going to grab some columns. We have a title. See how nice that is? We have content. We have, oh, and I should have told it markdown. We'll come back to that. The recipe. And next time we'll do that one. Okay. And then I'll pin this for a moment too, so I don't run this again if I do this by accident. So we have content, and then we have tags. And tags should just work as an array. It's quite a bit of tags. And that's about it. Oh, you know what I want to tell it to do? I'm going to tell it to do something. This is actually a cool trick. Image. I call it the image prompt because we're going to pass that to the next one. And I will get stylistic there. So I'm actually unpin this and run it one more time and give it a moment. While it's doing that, let's go look at what happened. Oh, we have some fails. And if we ran, let's see, npm run build. And those are both on the PR, so let's assume, oh yeah, it didn't fail. Let's go see why the PRs failed. So what I'll do here is I typically just take this, and a lot of this is learning how to let the AI do the work. So let's see. Now let's do something while it's doing that. I want to go see if we reload this, we see that our regular build passed. Man, is that bright? But something about the preview build failed. Preview build, nothing should be that different. So let's go see what it says. Let's see. I thought I put those in there, but maybe I didn't. I could have sworn I did. Yeah, it's there. So that I could come back to after. It worked on the recent project I did, so I'm sure it's something simple. And it really should just use that environment variables. And I'll deploy it again. I'm just curious now why it wouldn't. Let me see something really quick. Reset template to default. Save and open PR. I'm not sure why I wouldn't use that. Let's just see if it works. If that one doesn't work, I'll come back to that. I'll do some Googling or AIing, or I'll go to their Discord channel. But we see the new theme is there. We see how easy that was. We now have some output from this AI that we can put into here. So title, recipe, tags, and then we have our image prompt, and that's what we want to do next. Okay, so we run this guy to make our record, and I don't like that, so let's go fix that. Let's see, that means we can edit the table, and we want to allow this to be null. So let's go do that. Is null. Really that simple. It's a nice UI, honestly. So we'll go back to our N8N, and that guy should be fine in a moment. But while it's doing that, I want to go OpenAI. Let's see, generate an image, and then we are going to, this is where, oh, I got lucky. Oh, it's the wrong, yeah, it doesn't matter. This can be tricky too, depends on who you're, if you set up your token well. All right, and then we're going to pass that in there. Let's see. Where are you, image prompt? Oh, it's back in the one before this. So we're going to go back to here, and we're going to say image prompt. Okay, so let that start generating, and then I'm going to go grab another one I have where I want to go get the upload for Supabase. So let me go grab that one moment. So here's another one I was working on, and what I'm going to do is just grab something from here. So this guy makes videos, and when it gets them back, I want to upload the song, download videos, send a comment. So let's go grab this one, I think. And what we want to do is upload to Supabase. There we go. Now, let's go back to here and put that right here. And this is the bummer because sometimes it will take too long. So let's just do this. Passing a binary can be a pain. So here's our Supabase, and it happens to be the right one. And what did we call it? Storage, image, recipes. Okay. So we're going to say, you know what? Go upload to recipes. So you see how nice this is? You start to get one place to do all this stuff, and it can pay off. So we're going to say, we're going to put them right in the root, and we're just going to say the ID of that Supabase we just made, right? So we're going to say it's going to be ID, this guy. And we're always generating, let's go back to OpenAI, we're always generating a PNG. So that's it. So we're just going to upload that to there. We're going to set that to that and just run it. Now, again, if I run that, it might work, it might not, it just depends. I'm going to always output this data, always output data, just so we get something. Oh, we got an error. Let's see what the error was. Unauthorized. Oops, I used the wrong parameters. This is nice too. We can just do this and grab from many of our places. Here we go. Okay, there we go. So now we have a recipe URL. So there's so many ways to do this. I'm going to just take the easy way for a moment. And I'm just going to grab another, I'll just copy this over, and we're just going to go update that Supabase. And we're going to say, you know what, this is going to be an update. And again, I wouldn't recommend this one. I'm just going to do it for now. We're going to say, we're going to get rid of all this. And let's get rid of that. Okay, we're going to say update, select a condition. The ID will be this ID. And then we will set the field that we want to update to the image link. And then you remember we had that before. Default. If I could spell. Okay. And I think I actually had two. Oh, that was horrible. And it's going to be a PNG. Again, this wouldn't be the way I would normally do it. And we also should optimize that image later on, honestly. Let's see. Upload to Supabase recipes. Oh, yeah, we could just do that. That'd be great. What we'll do later is we'll optimize the image though. That won't be too hard, which is nice with N8N. It's just, it can also be tedious. Okay, so that's it. So once we do that, we will update the database with that record without running everything all over again. Yeah, okay, cool. All right, so that's my recipes daily, simple recipes daily. So now I could just run that daily, right? Or more, but we'll just do that daily for a moment, okay? We'll actually probably do more. I'll probably do a run of 100 of them. All right, so now we have an active recipe builder. Let's go see what it made for that recipe. Now I'm just curious. Recipes, and let's reload the page. And there we go, number 12. Yep, okay, not bad. Realism is fine. Okay, I should probably just replace them all with that. Let's see, so let's go here, and I might even hit that like a bunch of times so we can have some nice images and stuff. But now if we go back to our recipe site, depending on how I did sorting, I always forget about that. There it is. So it's here, but now we've run into some issues, right? And we didn't do the view yet, and that button shouldn't have been there, honestly. So it probably did something here. So we can go back to our local, which is nice because I can just work on it with the same data, right? So I can say run dev. And then I bet you it's right here where it was supposed to, let's see what happens. Recipe image link. And then let's just double check I didn't get the image link wrong, right? Because that could be it. So it just could be that. The image link is correct, so it must just be rendering it funny. So if we go back to here, oops. If we just inspect that area, okay. Yeah, we see it. That's interesting. Oh, it's because it's too wide, it's getting pushed off. All right, that's no big deal. Okay. So we just want to truncate that. Let's see. I wonder why that's not just built in. Truncate the, and let's see what it can do. Now I must have messed up a setting because it's always asking me to confirm. Don't know why. I wonder if that is just a weird, I always get confused with this stuff. Yes, please, just do it. I must have a setting. There must be one that just says get it done. All right, let's see what happens here. And if this is close enough, I'll kick it off. Oh, look at that. Nice. Okay. This is horrible, but let's just take it slow. And that reminds me. So what I might do is this. So what I've been doing for a while for other stuff I've been working on is I'll make a field called summary, and that one will be the one that really drives the front end. And then this will be, I'll let the AI know to keep this short. So let's allow that to be null. I think, yeah, it's already set. Okay. Okay, that's already set. And that's it. I'll go back to N8N. I'll tell it, hey, allow, we want that. So when that comes in, we'll pass it. And then this guy, we just got to remind it that exists. Wow, like great, detailed recipe. That's weird, but it won't be a big deal. Yeah, I can leave that. I'll just do that summary. Okay. So now this guy is going to pass off some information to here, and this guy is going to be in charge of the format. So I'm going to say string summary. I don't want the one LM to do it all because things can go, it's better to give each one a little bit of work. Now we still haven't made the page for it, and I'll come back next time and do that. So this is for the homepage to show it as intro info only. Okay. So let's have that guy build up that. And then what will happen here is we should upload the Supabase. All we have to do here is say, you know what, we have this new field called summary, and we're going to take that, and we know it's going to come in, or we hope it will, like that. All right, so that's it. So now this will work next time, and I could run it again for the heck of it, right? And then we'll keep making them. Now I already have this one here. Let's do a couple things here. Now I could have this guy do the work, but I'm not gonna. Where are you? I will do this really quick. One moment. Oh, we have 2 black bean recipes. Oh, it's probably because I ran it twice with pin data. My bad. You got to remember that. So see that pin data? Yeah, so I can mess you up at first, but it's just for practice. Who cares? All right. So I didn't mean to do that. I probably messed it up actually. Anyways, let's go figure out this. Let's just say, again, it will let me run this and just be done. You could use the MCPs, but this is just so much easier. Yeah, I was using one that didn't have this forget what database tool it was, and it was just like a reminder of how it's just not worth having tools that don't do that anymore. So this guy, I'm going to say summary, and then it won't like this, and I could have AI do this, sorry. It won't like that because of the TypeScript, and that's fine. I kind of like that. And I could probably do, we got here. All right, it really did a good job here. That's a nice thing to do because it saves it from, makes it a little faster. My image just must be, yeah, so that's a good example. That image is oversized. What's the word? It needs to be made smaller. Let's see, title and then the summary. And I don't need all this fancy stuff anymore. So I'm surprised it's still a little bit long, so I'll have to ask it to fix that in a moment. I just want to be able to push this up. Just so we can just be done with that. npm run build. I want to see if it's working still. And did we ever successfully? Nope, it doesn't like my preview deployments. I'll come back to that to show people that working after. Git add, git commit summary, and then git push to. And then what I'm going to do here is just get rid of that pull request because I'll come back to that other. So we'll just merge it for now. I did want to show that working, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. But see how it just does this whole like process for you. So imagine like you start getting it to actually do the code for you. It could really work out nicely. I don't know why that one didn't work. All right, so that's going to deploy. And so now we have our deploys working. We have our content being generated. We have a kind of UI pattern. Afterwards, we'll add the favorites. I'll come back to that in the next video where you can just quickly click something and you'll see how I build that out in Supabase. So that's the gist of just getting going on an idea and getting it out there. Marketing, SEO is the other part. That's a big part to this too, honestly. But just getting something quickly deployed and out there is not that hard anymore, as you can see. All right. Thank you.